Howdy. I'm going to quickly demo how to set up terrain in an ultraPacer course. This is the third step. Typically, you start by importing a course from a GPX file or from Strava, defining important aid stations or waypoints, and I've done both of those things. This is just a loop course through Nevadas in just south of Bear Valley. And it's just a weekend adventure for me, but I always like to plan out my timing so I can tell my wife when I'm going to get home. And this loop starts and ends up here by Alpine Lake, goes clockwise from there. And so what I have in here are just two waypoints right now, two places where I would get water, these two in the table here. But I'm going to set up the terrain for all the pacing. So when I look at this, it starts out on the road to about right there, and then it hits just a single track trail coming down into this little valley. This is all single track, but really overgrown, so kind of really slow moving. This is a better groomed trail through this section, and then you hit like a double track Jeep trail for this last stretch. So each of those, has its own speed component. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Waypoints tab, and I'm going to turn editing on, and then I'm going to start changing these waypoints. So at my start, I'm going to start out on the road, so my terrain is paved, and hit save. And then about right here, I hit a single track. There's no waypoint existing there, so I'm going to add one. So I'm going to call it just single track. And I'm going to call it 1.5 miles in roughly, and I'll adjust it. And it's nothing important, so I use the junction type, and visibility is going to be hidden. I don't want to see it, I just want it to affect the terrain model. So, and then the terrain here would be single track. I'm going to hit save, and then it was a little too far, so I'm going to bring this back with these little tags, or tabs for adjusting, back to the point where it hits single track, which is about right there. Okay, so then it's a single track trail all the way through the lake, but right around here, the going gets pretty slow. So I actually want to change this to more technical. I'm at another waypoint about another mile in, call it junction, hidden. And I'm going to call it technical, and the default for that is 20%, but I've been through there and I know it's really slow. So it's going to add a lot of time. So I'm going to call it 30%, starting right a little bit past Duck Lake, which is that little lake there. And that carries through all the way until you hit Rock Lake, at which point it gets to be pretty good single track again. So you can see what's going on here with the model. We have paved and single track, technical. And whatever you leave it at, the last waypoint, it continues through the rest of the course. So at this point, we have single track all the way through here. Right around Union Reservoir, you get onto actually a paved, groomed road. So I'm going to switch that over to at Union. I'm just going to call it a landmark. Reservoir, and I'll call it a landmark, roughly, I don't know, 8 miles in. I'll adjust it. We go to paved road. So that is going to be the Reservoir a little further on. And if I want this to show up on my table, I can call it a primary or secondary visibility. I'll do a secondary to show you what that looks like. And then the groomed road carries on all the way until when you cross the river here, at which point it turns into a double track Jeep road. Okay, so then lastly, we stay on the double track all the way up until this point, and then it goes to single track again, so that's maybe 15 miles in. Single track, 15, and hidden, and I'm going to do that. So I've got these extra waypoints. That was a pretty good guess. Right here. And then this last little stretch is on the road. It doesn't really matter because it's only a quarter mile or so, but I'll just put it in here for the fun of it. Junction, hidden, paved. So all these types have like a built-in default factor, and you can adjust those as you like. Paved is always 0. So this is now the terrain model built in here. When I turn editing off, you'll see a lot of those hidden waypoints aren't even showing up anymore. And under segments, now the secondary waypoints aren't showing up until you expand one. So here we've got actually our main segments between the waypoints I had set up earlier, and then if I expand this, now I have this section here to Union Reservoir and this section here to the river crossing.